Good morning, artists. Today we're going to talk about how you're going to start to paint your 12-step color wheel. We're going to begin today by using yellow and red to make then the secondary color orange and the intermediate colors of yellow orange and red orange that are in between. Our primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. These are our pure hues that are made synthetically. They're not made by mixing any other color. You cannot mix paint to get red paint. Our secondary colors are made by mixing two primaries. And our intermediate colors are in the middle, just like you go to intermediate school. So red-orange is made by mixing red and orange. It's a little more red than orange. And yellow-orange is made by mixing yellow and orange. It's made by mixing a little more yellow than orange. Materials on your table will include a McCartan of paint, and it should look like this when you end class. We're going to talk about good paint etiquette so that we're not slobbing our paintbrushes and keeping them clean as we mix our paint together. You will also have water and brushes on your table, as well as this glossy white paper. Not everything fits under my camera, but this is palette paper. This is what we'll use to mix our colors in as we work our way around our color wheel. So where to start? I like to start with those primary colors because those are our pure hues. My ballerina brush is always on her tippy toes. I am not scooping the paint out of here. And I am gliding across my paper. I paint the outside edges first, and then I glide over my paper neatly, back and forth and back and forth. I'm never scrubbing with my brush. I'm making sure that my pigment is saturated, and I'm being neat and complete inside that space. I want to use my yellow to paint my yellow space next, so I need to clean my paintbrush. And I clean it by going circle, circle, circle in the water, circle, circle, circle in the water, and then on the paper towel, I give it a wipe. I always keep my paper towel in my non-painting hand so that I have access to it to clean my brush. I am not tapping. Otherwise, you will splatter paint on someone else's work. So it's important, students, that you have good painting citizenship. And look, now I can use my yellow, and it's not contaminated by careless painting. If you slime up the paint on your table, or you see classmates, someone not cleaning their brush or following the rules, politely remind them so that I don't have to. Okay, let's work together as a class to make sure that we are doing the correct thing for each other. Now you might recall from your color wheel practice, if you did that practice sheet, that to make orange, some of you found out that you needed a lot more yellow. So here's where I can scoop. I am adding yellow now to my palette paper about 1, 2, 3 times. Circle, circle, circle in my water off camera here. Dry it on my paper towel so that my brush is clean. And then by adding red, and I mix it together, that was just one red. That's all I need, students, check that out, to create an orange. So it was a lot more yellow than red because that red paint is much more saturated. Ballerina brush is always on her tippy toes so that I can be neat and paint inside my space. Now let's do the intermediate colors that are in between. I've got a lot of orange paint that I already mixed. My brush is messy, so I clean it. Circle, circle, circle in my water. Dry on my paper towel. And now I'm going to add yellow over here. Yellow, 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 lots of yellow, and just boop, a little bit of orange. That creates my yellow orange. Yellow orange is like 10 times more yellow than it has red in it. And look, you can observe with an intermediate color, some students are like, my orange looks too red. Then add more yellow to it. And then for yellow orange, add a lot more yellow to it. right? Because yellow isn't as saturated. That means there's not as much pigment particles inside of it to make it look as dark as it can. Now here's my orange. To make a red orange, all I need to do is add a little more red to my orange. And you might say, but that looks like my red, Miss McCart. It's nearly the same. Yes, but it's not exactly the same. Observe. They're slightly different. Slightly. If you followed the recipe, you don't need to raise your hand to me and go, is this red, orange? If you did the right technique, if you did red, and then you added more orange, you have made a red orange. See, it's slightly different. You can't tell just by looking at your palette paper. It's your perception. So I have here, students, my red orange, my yellow orange, and my yellow. The rules for mixing paint are to start with the primaries, make the secondary, and then do the intermediate colors. Remember, if you're working in this half of the color wheel, you need a lot more yellow to make a yellow green or a yellow orange than you would normally think, because it's not as saturated as a pigment. Yellow is just that kind of light. To clean up at the end of class, we're going to return our color wheels to our bins in the center. McCartans or paint of your last 5th grade class. If you're me, you're going to bring them up to my cart. Water and brushes, you're either going to leave them for the next group or you're going to dump it out and get it clean. And these things get carried to the trash can. Just a fold in half and carried, your little trash taco. Do not throw them, yeet them into my can. We want to be neat. And these babies are going to go on the drying rack. So we're going to start with just yellow and red. I will give your table of blue if you get ready, but I think it's better to just start with like a section so that we're all on the same page. Good luck, artists. We're going to give this a try today as we mix our primary, secondary, and then our intermediate colors on our color wheel.